Welcome to the State of Georgia Department of Community Affairs Georgia Rental Assistance Program for Landlords. The Georgia Department of Community Affairs is a state agency that supports communities, including local government officials, individuals, and families with job creation and business development, avenues for safe and affordable housing, and community development. For more information, visit dca.ga.gov. The CDC moratorium, which may be subject to change, is scheduled to end June 30th, 2021. While this may change, the GRA program was operationalized in March. Individuals and families should speak with their landlords about the GRA program. DCA does not provide legal advice for evictions. However, individuals can visit georgialegalaid.com, which provides assistance for those who need it. The U.S. Treasury Department allocated $25 billion to state and local governments. Georgia received $552 million in stimulus funds through the Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Funds are intended to provide relief to landlords and renters who are behind on rental and utility payments due to the coronavirus pandemic. DCA has created an online application for individuals to apply to receive funding to bring past due rent and utility balances current. The program started in March 2021. The date was announced on DCA's website and social media pages. The program will end on September 30th, 2022, or when the funds are spent, whichever occurs first. The money will be paid directly to landlords and utility companies where possible on behalf of the tenants. 12 months of rent will be paid, but up to 15 months can be allowed for special circumstances. Individuals will submit an application, and when the application is reviewed and approved in the portal, money will be paid to landlord and utility companies. The Georgia Rental Assistance Program provides financial assistance to eligible tenants, their landlords, and utility providers to cover activities including rent arrears, current and future rent payments, and utility arrear payments. For past due support, up to 12 months or $15,000 of rental and utility assistance can be provided. No arrearages may be addressed prior to March 13, 2020. Future rental assistance cannot be provided unless the arrearage is also addressed. Total months of assistance including arrears cannot exceed 12 months. For future support, amount of forward rent is limited to 3 months at this time. Assistance for future rent payments, where no back rent is owed at the time of application, are not being accepted at this time. Also, future utility payments will not be made. A note for all to remember, all assistance is based on remaining availability of funding. For total support value, once a household has reached 12 months of arrearage but not yet received the maximum limit of $15,000, they may be able to request an exception to the 12-month limit. The exception would allow for an additional 3 months under special circumstances. However, individuals must recertify. A household will be required to submit a request and demonstrate continued housing instability. In addition to total support value, the amount of assistance for each household is limited to $15,000 and may not exceed 15 months of assistance. Payment of reasonable accrued late fees included in rental or utility arrears are allowed and limited to 8% of total arrearage. For eligibility for assistance, a renter household living in Georgia must meet the following conditions: earning no more than 80% of the current area median income for the county or metropolitan statistical area, or resident as determined by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Income eligibility may be based upon the household's total income for 2020 or its monthly income at the time of the application. Has either qualified for unemployment benefits or have experienced a loss or reduction in household income, incurred significant cost, or experienced other financial hardship directly or indirectly to COVID-19, which the applicant must attest in writing. Can demonstrate a risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability by providing an eviction notice, a past rent notice, or a past due utility notice. And lastly, renter households that receive a monthly federal subsidy are eligible for assistance. Such subsidies are housing choice vouchers, public housing, and project-based Section 8. Program eligibility is limited to the tenant's portion of the rent. Those who are not eligible are renter households that have incomes above 80% of area median income, and renter households that cannot show a COVID-19 hardship or risk of homelessness or housing instability through a past due bill or rent statement. Priority will be given to eligible households which meet the following criteria. Include an individual who has been unemployed for the 90 days immediately prior to the date of application for assistance, or have income at or below 50% of the area median income. Important notes: DCA will have dedicated staff members devoted only to these priority households, with other staff processing non-priority households. Application where a household is only requesting assistance for past due utilities or future rent or utilities without past due rent will be screened out and will not be accepted at this time, but may be reconsidered at a later date subject to funding availability. Applicants must verify that they are currently renters in housing that is eligible for the program. Eligible housing includes rental house and apartment. In addition, mobile homes are eligible for rent assistance on the unit being rented. If the mobile home is owned by the applicant, rental assistance may not be requested for the lot being rented. Not eligible housing includes households residing in a hotel, motel, temporary lodging, or a boarding house, lease purchased and rent-to-own units, and housing cooperatives. Applicants from one of the 12 jurisdictions in the state that receive their own ERA funding will need to contact their local government for more information on the status of the local programs. Such 12 jurisdictions are City of Atlanta, Augusta-Richmond County, Chatham County, Cherokee County, Clayton County, Cobb County, DeKalb County, Forsyth County, Fulton County, Gwinnett County, Hall County, and Henry County. As individual jurisdictions exhaust funding under this program, potential applicants in those communities may submit applications to DCA for assistance, subject to funding availability. If a potential applicant is in one of these jurisdictions, they will need to contact their local government for more information on the status of the local program. Applicants are not eligible to receive assistance from more than one jurisdiction for the same time period. DCA reserves the right to temporarily stop accepting applications based upon volume received to allow for applications already accepted or under review to be processed. The electronic application portal will be updated on the status to respond to applicants accordingly. When applying, applications will be submitted electronically through a secure online website. No applications or documentation may be submitted via email. Email will only be used to notify applicants and landlords when they have a message in the portal that requires action on their part or notifies them of a change in status of their request. And a paper application can be made available upon request, and these applicants may be referred to a partner agency for assistance in submitting an online application. Send paper application package to the attention of Georgia Rental Assistance Program, 60 Executive Park South Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30329. Once received, the information is entered into the electronic system, and the program staff will contact the other party applicant, landlord or tenant, to request their application and documentation. All applicants shall certify to the following statement. In signing the certification, including electronic signature, you are acknowledging that falsification of documents or any material falsehoods or omissions in the application, including knowingly seeking duplicative benefits, is subject to state and federal criminal penalties. You are particularly put on notice that 18 U.S.C. 1001 provides, among other things, that whoever knowingly and willingly makes or uses a document or writing containing any false, fictitious, or fraudulent statement or entry in any matter within the jurisdiction of any department or agency of the United States will be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned for not more than 5 years, or both. Where an application is submitted but there are one or more issues with the supporting documents submitted, or an issue with information or certifications within the application, GRA will have a staff team dedicated to follow up with applicants in an attempt to correct those issues. Once a GRA staff member begins the follow-up process with an applicant to troubleshoot issues with the applicant will have 10 business days to provide the correct information or document for the application to be considered complete. If the applicant does not provide corrected information or is unresponsive after 10 business days where an application is still considered incomplete, DCA reserves the right to continue follow-up with the applicant, refer the applicant to a partner agency for assistance, or consider the application closed. Applications are only able to be reviewed when they are complete and where applicants resolve outstanding issues or errors. The application will be marked as complete to move forward for review. Through their participation in the program, landlords must agree to accept these payments to satisfy any arrearages of the tenant for time period covered and to not pursue eviction proceedings based on this arrearage. For documentation and information, please provide proof of identity, proof of ownership, where applicable, a property management company or legal representative must attach documentation showing authorization to act on behalf of the property owner, statement of delinquent rent, IRS W-9 form, and ACH payment form or direct deposit. For other information, landlords or legal representatives will provide within the application valid tax identification number, such as Social Security number or EIN, information on cost of any utilities included within the rent, and attestation. Legal fees or other charges, including in the amount requested as applicable, are not permitted and they will be backed out of the total rental amount owed. In order to participate in the program, landlords will be required to waive these fees. Payment of reasonably accrued late fees included in rental or utility arrears, if incurred due to COVID-19, are allowed and limited to 8% of total arrearage. Additional documentation and considerations are households that reside at a low-income housing tax credit or home-assisted property, in which they would be able to receive assistance for the portion of the rent that the tenant is responsible to cover, and only to the extent that has not already been covered through another program, and households that live in a unit where the landlord has a family relationship to anyone in the household. They may be eligible, but must provide documentation that a true landlord-tenant relationship exists. This will include a copy of the lease as well as verification of a past rental payment history of no less than 6 months. For landlord proof of identity, acceptable documentation includes driver's license, government-issued photo identification, U.S. military photo ID, tribal photo ID, and passport card. For verification, name on the identification must match the name of the application submitted. For proof of ownership, acceptable documentation includes warranty deed, tax record, or insurance binder. For verification, use the Georgia Department of Revenue website to review the online property record and ensure that owner name matches application and property address matches application. If applicant is not the owner, but instead is a management company or legal representative, proof of ownership documentation can include authorization agreement, memorandum of understanding, and memorandum of agreement. For delinquent rent statement, definition includes standard form on portal and shows rents due to the landlord. For verification, please ensure that name matches application, address matches application, amount matches application, and signature is provided. For payment documents, documents required are W-9 and bank information for payment. For verification, all forms must be completed. Recipients of assistance may receive up to 12 months of assistance in addition to a potential maximum of 3 months of future rental assistance if needed, and funding is available to ensure housing stability. The amount of assistance for each household is limited to $15,000. The payment of existing housing-related arrears that could lead to eviction of the tenant must be satisfied before any future assistance can be provided. Total months included in arrearage will be factored into total 12 months of assistance. A key takeaway to remember: There is a $15,000 household maximum, and it may not exceed 12 months without special circumstances. GRA is available to Georgia renter households with income at or below 80% of the area median income, who have experienced income reduction or financial hardship due to COVID-19 and exhibit housing instability or homelessness risk. Payments of reasonably accrued late fees included in rental or utility arrears, if incurred due to COVID-19, are allowed and limited to 8% of total arrearage. Landlords must agree to waive all additional late fees above 8% in order to participate. Legal fees and other charges are not permitted. For households that reside at a low-income housing tax credit or home-assisted property, they will be able to receive assistance for the portion of the rent that the tenant is responsible to cover, and only to the extent that it has not already been covered through another program. Landlords will be required to disclose if the property for which they are applying received low-income housing tax credit or home assistance during the development phase. Key takeaways to remember: rent coverage is available for a portion of the rent, and tenant is responsible for the low-income housing tax credit in home properties. Falsification of documents is subject to state and federal criminal penalties, and individuals who commit fraud will not be fined more than $10,000 or imprisoned for more than 5 years, or both. Normally, upon a determination of applicant eligibility, payments for rent and rental arrears are made to landlords, and utilities and home energy costs and arrears are made to utility providers. In instances when the landlord or utility provider does not agree to accept a payment on behalf of a household, payments can be made directly to a household. In this situation, it must be documented that the landlord and/or the utility company were unresponsive to outreach for them to participate. A request for participation is sent in writing by certified mail to the landlord or utility provider, and the addressee does not respond to the request within 14 calendar days after mailing. At least 3 attempts are made by email over a 10 calendar day period to request the landlord or utility provider's participation. All efforts must be documented. Landlord confirms in writing they do not wish to participate. In the event that a direct payment to an applicant is required after the above efforts are unsuccessful, the applicant will be requested to complete an ACH direct deposit form for this requirement. If they are unbanked, they will be eligible to receive paper checks. Applicants who believe they were denied access to the Georgia Rental Assistance Program as a result of barriers which prevented them from applying or because they were determined to be ineligible during the application and verification process may appeal the decision. When submitting a request, appeals shall be submitted within 14 calendar days of the date of the application denial letter. In addition, a formal request must be submitted by email to GAERA support@dca.ga.gov. In addition, please include applicant name, address, preferred method of contact such as email or phone, landlord name, contact information, and the reason provided for the denial. Also, state the reasons why the applicant believes the application denial was an error and provide any additional documentation necessary to support the applicant's assertion of same. When an appeal is submitted, the decision of the program administrator shall be issued in writing within 14 calendar days of the receipt of the appeal and shall be final. DCA is required to establish data privacy and security requirements for the information that includes appropriate measures to ensure that the privacy of the individuals and households is protected. Provides that the information, including any personally identifiable information, is collected and used only for the purpose of submitting reports. And provides confidentiality protections for data collected about any individuals who are survivors of intimate partner violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Employees and agents of the state will not disclose any applicant's personal confidential information as part of the program. All confidential information of applicants will be kept secure and unavailable to persons outside of the program. If the state receives a request for public records related to the program, only non-confidential information, as verified by the state, will be provided. The Georgia Rental Assistance Program shall be implemented consistent with the state of Georgia's commitment to state and federal equal opportunity laws. No person shall be excluded from participation in, denied the benefit of, or be subjected to discrimination under this program on the basis of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, disability, or age. The state of Georgia will provide reasonable accommodations and/or modifications or provide language assistance to individuals requesting such assistance to benefit from the services provided by the Georgia Rental Assistance Program. DCA anticipates contracting with external partners for services to applicants. The services will include the partner assisting with the completion of the application process, including document upload. Referrals to partnering agencies may include applicants who self-identify as initiating or experiencing an eviction. For more information regarding the Georgia Rental Assistance Program, please visit georgiarentalassistance.ga.gov. For any questions or to be in contact with a representative, please email rentalassistance@dca.ga.gov. Thank you.